Welcome to the Next Level Life podcast with Christine Corcoran. This podcast is made for the powerhouse businesswomen who are ready to ignite their fullest potential. This is where we will dive deep into the mindset breakthroughs and sprinkle in some kick up the butt motivation so you can scale your business with confidence and clarity. Whether you're craving more income, impact, or inspiration, this podcast will be your ultimate resource for all things next level. Listen in as we have authentic conversations with game-changing female entrepreneurs as we reveal the secrets on what it takes to rise and thrive. So go ahead, ignite your inner fire, and let's get you taking massive aligned action. Are you ready to elevate? Let's go. Hey, welcome back to the podcast. Thank you so much for hitting download and for joining me here today. We are 4 weeks away from the Unstoppable Women event, and I am deep in event planning. I've been having some incredible conversations with my speakers, and I've just announced a brand new speaker. I didn't know this was going to happen, but basically I went through the run sheet and discovered that I still had a 30-minute slot that I could fill. And I was like, oh, should I fill this myself? Should I dive into something else? And then I was like, actually, I feel like something is missing from the day. And so I realized that there's an element of content, the practicality around content that I know that everyone always loves to learn when it comes to attending events and when it comes to expanding their business. And so I've invited the beautiful Brittany Roberts from the Social Britify, who is an absolute queen when it comes to content and when it comes to launching and expanding your visibility. And so I've asked her to come and fill that time slot. So she's going to dive into what creates demand and attention, and also some unique examples of the way that people have utilized content this year in 2026 to get that attention and to convert that attention. And so I'm so excited for her session, and I'm so excited that she's joining us. So that means we've got 5 incredible high-level speakers that'll be diving into giving you all their best stuff and making sure that you also get the extra resources in order to support you implementing it into your business. So it's time now to get your ticket. If you have been sitting on it, or if you're like, oh, I don't know anyone going, or oh, maybe I'll just wait till next year, I can't guarantee I'm going to do it again next year. You're going to miss out if you don't get yourself in that room. And when spending like $450 on your business, when you're going to get access to so many high-level speakers that are going to give you their best stuff, like you couldn't get a coaching session for $450, right? Like you couldn't even get a workshop with any of these speakers under that price point. So the fact that you get all 5 of them, plus me, plus Kat Dunn, who's going to be diving in as the competition winner, plus the panel, plus the VIP after party, plus, oh my God, the goodie bags that have been, all the stuff that's showing up now for the goodie bags. I've got so many incredible brands on board for us for this event, and the goodie bags are going to be next level. So we've got the incredible Hark & Co, Retreat Yourself, Breeze Balm, Macro Mike, the Broth Sisters, and a whole bunch of other incredible brands. And I cannot wait for you to get a goodie bag. So even if you're a general ticket, you still get a goodie bag. So when I recorded this, there was 7 VIP tickets left. I can't guarantee that's still how many is going to be left, but if you want a VIP to join us for both days, then definitely jump on and book your ticket ASAP. Otherwise, join us as a general ticket. You can also upgrade to include the after party. So if you wanted to stay on for that evening, you're more than welcome to, which is so worth it. It's going to be under the stars, by the pool, and we're going to have canapes, and there's going to be food included and drinks. So I cannot wait for us to spend some time and celebrate and get to chat after the event. So I thought I would record an episode today about the 4 ways that I reprogram my mind for success, because I thought that it would be really valuable for you to hear this, because I think one of the biggest things when it comes to promoting this event, and even the conversations that I've been having recently with a lot of people have found this year really hard. And I understand that because there's a lot changing, and there's a lot of uncertainty, and what used to work is not working anymore. And so we've been having to pivot and try new things. And what I've noticed is the way that we approach things makes the biggest difference. So when we're approaching it from things aren't working, or it's really hard, or what I used to do this and it's no longer working, or when you take a lot of the no's to heart, or when you feel like you are working even harder and making less money, which is a similar episode to what I did last week, then it can feel like it's all on you. And so the mindset piece that has to shift is what makes all the difference, right? It'll be the difference between you hiding or getting disheartened or burnt out or giving up on your business to the difference of actually succeeding. And so I want to teach you a few different things that I do to reprogram my mind for success and the way that I approach it, because, and I also agree, this year has been more challenging than the years before. And it doesn't mean that we haven't gone through challenging times. Think back to COVID. COVID was bloody awful. and we got through it, right? And your business survived through it. And so wherever you're at, whether you're in a pivot, whether you feel like you've hit a plateau, whether you feel like you are literally like burning it to the ground to rebuild, whether you are like wherever stage you're at, you will realize that the biggest piece when it comes to success in business is your mindset. How you think about things, how you reframe things, how your mindset then impacts how you feel, which then obviously will then impact your behavior. So there are 4 different ways that I like to reprogram my mind for success. And the first one is identity beliefs. So I always do this like reset, and I probably do it every, say, 6 to 8 weeks, where I sit down and I write down some of the beliefs that I've had come to the surface in the last month or 2. And I'll write down what's been playing on my mind, what are consistent thoughts that I've been having, and I ask myself whether those thoughts are serving me or whether they're not serving me. And if they're not serving me, then I reframe them to reframe what I believe is possible for myself and help me reprogram my brain for success. Because your belief systems drive your behavior, right? You think one thing, you then look for evidence for that thing to be true, then you activate a feeling attached to that thought, then that feeling changes the way that you show up in business. It changes your behavior, right? Every form of action that you take is being driven by a feeling. And if you can reprogram the thought that causes the feeling, your action will be different. So I was saying this to a client recently around choosing disempowering belief systems versus empowering belief systems. And it can be as simple as really reframing, like doing the sitting down and writing down what are the belief systems that I have about success, about money, about business, about myself. What are the belief systems that I'm having recently about the current state of the world, about the current state of business, about the current state of the market? And when you do that, you will start to identify how that's been impacting your behavior. And when I do this for myself, I'll realize that there's some belief systems that aren't serving me. And as much as it can be easy to then be hard on ourselves and judge ourselves for thinking that, we want to avoid that as best we can because you can only do the best you can, right? Obviously, yes, you could do a daily debrief and be like, okay, what are my thoughts today and how can I reprogram them? And what tools am I using to reprogram those thoughts, which I'm going to get into in a second. But we're busy. We're busy people. And so doing it on a daily basis is probably way too much. Whereas you could do it once a week or once a fortnight. I try to do it every month, every 6 weeks. And so then I have that reflection time to look back and be like, oh, I can see how my thoughts have been affecting my behavior. I can see how my thoughts are then affecting the way that I'm showing up and the results that I'm achieving in my business, right? And so when we do that, sometimes it's as easy as reframing your thoughts and reprogramming those beliefs with some other tools, which I'll talk about in a second. Other times it can be a state shift that you really need because we are choosing. At the end of the day, we're choosing. We're choosing to believe the thoughts that we're having, which then drives our behavior, and then we feel disempowered and we get stuck in that disempowered state. So if you're having belief systems around things being really hard, things not working out, that's causing an emotional response in your body, where things feel hard, they feel heavy, they feel like you're maybe disheartened, you feel like you want to give up, you feel deflated, then the behavior that you're going to take from that emotional state is probably not going to serve you, right? You probably do things from a place of pressure or from a place of feeling like you have to versus wanting to, or that you get to. And so by shifting your state, you're more likely then to be able to also rewire the brain. They work so closely together. So if I feel like my emotional state and my physiology that is a lot stronger than my mindset, then what I'll usually do is try to change my state first. So I'll go for a workout, I'll lift some weights, I'll go for a walk on the beach, I will do some yoga, I'll do some breath work, something that will shift my state. Maybe not all of those things, but one of those things that'll help me shift my state. And then I'll address my belief systems. Because often when we address our belief systems, you'll often have a heap of proof, a heap of evidence from the past 6 to 8 weeks that will show you that this is true, right? And our brain loves to do that because it loves certainty. So it will often argue or rationalize. You're like, yeah, well, believing that is true to say because it's reality, right? And I want you to think about, it's less about reality, more about how it's making you feel and whether that's serving you or not. Because as much as we could focus on reality, and I say that in air quotes, if we focus on the reality of our current state of whatever, there is always truth in both sides. There is truth to say that the economy is not doing great. Then there's also truth to say that certain people are doing very well in this economy and there's plenty of opportunity and there's so much money to be made, right? And people are still spending in different areas of industries. So which one is true? And then if you think about it, you are in your own economy. The way that you run your business and what you sell, you're running your own economy. So what is true to say? So we can either focus on reality and get caught up in the fear language, in the fear thoughts, in the doubt, in the insecurity of it, or feeling out of control, or we can choose a more empowering belief system that then will serve us to feel better and then take a more empowered action. So that's the first piece, is working on your identity belief systems. Identity of when you use the words I am, or what you believe to be true about the current state of the world, about business, about life, about success, about money, okay? Then what I do to reprogram it is a few little tools that I do. One would be writing down the belief systems that I want to believe instead, right? Sometimes I put that in ChatGPT and say, give me high-level affirmations that are going to serve me from a new belief system at a successful level, right? Or I detail out what I want, results I want in my business, and then go, what beliefs would I need to hold in order for that to be true? And then I print that out and I stick it on the wall, sometimes on the outside of the shower, and I'll read it first thing in the morning when my brain is susceptible to take on these belief systems. I'll read it out loud, read it like I believe it with enthusiasm, and before I know it, I start to then see evidence in my existing world of where that could be true, right? So we're going to gather all that evidence, and then we back it up again the next day. So using repetition to replace your old belief systems with some new belief systems is a great way to do that. A second way I do it is with a script. So I use a script describing my ideal day with my next level of results that I want to achieve in the next 6 to 12 months. And I am saying it out loud. Things like I walk into the Unstoppable Women event and I can feel the buzz of the energy of everyone talking and connecting and collaborating. And it gives me so many goosebumps, and I'm so excited for the day. The speakers are arriving and they're so excited to deliver incredible value. The room is an absolute buzz. I hear the music playing in the room. The dancers are getting ready. We're so ready to go on stage. And I know before I even step on that stage that the day is already perfect. So I use that type of emotional language that gets me into a positive state, right? So I love to use scripting for that. So think about how you could possibly create a script that will support you as well. Okay, the second thing that I do to reprogram my mind for success is learning to show your subconscious mind that your next level of success is safe, okay? Because we will avoid anything that we believe to be dangerous. And our mind is always on the lookout for danger, right? And your next level of success, if it represents a feeling of unsafety, where it could be next level of visibility, exposing yourself at that next level. It could be next level of being able to handle responsibility, or it could be money. It could be the amount of clients that you want to serve at that level. If there's a level that you're looking towards and that represents a form of unsafety, then you're most likely not going to move towards it. So we want to create a level of safety to move towards, and then your subconscious mind is supporting you and you feel more comfortable to work towards it, all right? Otherwise, you end up finding yourself sabotaging your success. So the way that I do that is a few different ways. So listening to podcasts with people who are extremely successful. So I'm getting in my mind all of these examples of success at that next level. Secondly, I get in the rooms of really successful people as well. I prioritize investing in events where I'm attending events of next level successful people. Now, sometimes some of the events that I'll attend I'm not sure before I go whether the right people are going to be in the room. But I try to just arrive as open-minded as possible and know that I'm always going to get something out of it. I'm always going to benefit from it. So investing in myself by getting in the right rooms. Now, they might be masterminds or they could be events. Either way, I'm creating a representation of success that my next level is safe. And I know that the conversations that happen in those spaces are the ones that actually shift us for the better beyond a lot of the other things that we do. Like honestly, the amount of conversations that I've had at events where I've sat down next to someone, had a conversation about something, and then they share an example or something that they're working on. And subconsciously, I'm like, oh, that's awesome. Like that must be amazing. If she can do that, I can do that, right? So you want to surround yourself with the right people that are going to lift you up, but also give you that representation that your next level of success is possible and safe. Number 3 is learning to say yes before I feel ready. Now, how is this reprogramming my mind? Well, firstly, your belief systems will be reframed and will be evolved based on the action that you take. So when I have an opportunity come my way and I don't feel ready for it, I say yes anyway and figure it out afterwards, which is one of those famous quotes from Richard Branson. And I'm a big believer of it because if you want an identity upgrade, you've got to get leverage on yourself to take next level action. And so by saying yes to things before I feel ready, it levels up so much of your identity And it also creates a next level of success that then you have to deal with it, right? So I think someone else said it us actually recently around like bite off more than you can chew, and then you have your future self has to show up. And I love that because it's so freaking true. Like launching my book, launching the Unstoppable Women event, now going into the second year of the Unstoppable Women event, that's creating examples of what I've been able to achieve, which is then upgrading my identity, which is upgrading my mind, right? So getting into the habit of saying yes before you're ready, because do you know how you get ready? You do the thing. That's how you do the thing, and then your belief systems are backed up by that. Because if you look back on things and you're like, wow, I can't believe I did that. That's amazing. It must be true that I am successful, or it must be true that I'm able to achieve this XYZ, or I'm capable of that because you did it, right? So get into the habit of saying yes before you feel ready. Now, the last one I want to share with you is a practice that I do on a regular basis, and it actually supports you being able to say yes before you're ready. And it's called mental rehearsal. Another way to call it would be visualization, but a lot of people get caught up in the woo-woo of that. But it's actually neuroscience, right? Because your brain doesn't know the difference between real or imaginary. So when you imagine a scenario, a circumstance, and you bolster that with incredible emotion based on what you create in your mind and your body as you're mentally rehearsing a scenario, your brain thinks it's real, right? So if you think about doing something before you feel ready, if you mentally rehearse it again and again and again, your brain will be like, oh, we've already done this. So we're safe. We've got certainty. There's an element of safety. And so the danger or the fear goes away and allows us to feel more comfortable moving towards it. I do this before every single speaking gig. I do this before any time I'm putting myself out there and challenging the norm of what I think is possible for myself. So mental rehearsal is such a great activity to do. And so anything that you want to do that you have anxiety around, mentally rehearse it. And there was a study that was done with a bunch of pianists. There was two groups of pianists. So the first group were given the sheet of music and the piano to play the music on, right? The second group were given the sheet of music, but no piano. And they were asked to mentally rehearse that piece of music, and they're not going to have access to the piano until the performance time. Then both groups performed the piece of music. And do you know which one was better? The people who mentally rehearsed playing versus the people that actually played. Isn't that fascinating? That's because the power of mental rehearsal gives your brain evidence that you're capable of doing it. So if you have anything that you're fearful of doing, anything that you're have anxiety around when you think about doing it, if you sit there and just close your eyes down and you mentally rehearse exactly the steps that you'll go through, and I mean really slow it down. Imagine what it would feel like to have your fingers on the piano, the feeling of the keys underneath it. Notice how your fingers are moving in the right moments. Allow yourself to feel the music coursing through your skin and through your body and through your energy. And really mentally rehearse every single part of it. You will find that you will feel less scared moving towards it. Same thing with if you're about to make this phone call, or if you're about to record a podcast, or if you're about to step on stage, no matter what the scenario is. Mentally rehearse it before you go into it many times, and you will find that your brain will feel at ease moving towards it, and then it won't be as scary. So they're the 4 ways that I love to reprogram my mind for success on a regular basis. I would love you to start implementing at least one of these. And if that one is number 2, where you surround yourself with successful people, that's simply filled with attending the Unstoppable Women event. Come and join us. It's going to be an incredible day. You get to mingle with other incredible women, have those really great conversations that are going to change your trajectory for your business. It's going to make you believe your next level is possible. It's going to challenge you to think differently. And it's going to be worth every penny you spend to get in that room. I cannot wait to see you, and I'd love to see you in September. So make sure you come along. The tickets are at unstoppablewomen.au. Thank you for listening, and enjoy the rest of your week. Thank you for listening, and if you've found any value out of this episode, make sure you hit the follow button so you get access to the episodes as soon as they are live. And make sure you come hang out with me on Instagram. You can find me at ChristineCorcoran_coach. Have an incredible week.